Kartel, our OG inverter brand that ruled half of inverter market from like 2018 to like 2022, has finally decided to join the race of hybrid high frequency, high voltage inverter. I think they started last year, but I just decided to pick it up now. So these people, it seems like they are no longer in operation because they did not join the game earlier. But now that they finally joined the race, what do they have to offer us? Are they going to meet up expectation considering the things we already have on ground by different brands, or they are going to surpass our expectation? Let's find out. Okay, let's start with unboxing. So unboxing this inverter, there is no big deal. We have the manual, 2 screws and hanger. Guys, what do you think about this design? To me, I'm neutral. I don't have any rating that I want to rate it. But if you ask me, I'll say it's okay. Design is okay. By the side, we have the RS4852 for BMS communication. We have the RS4851 for external communication and Wi-Fi. The AC fuse is also by the side. Underneath, we have the AC output terminal, the AC input, the solar terminal, earthing, and also we have the battery terminal. And on the other side, we have the on and off switch and the spec sheets. But before diving into the spec sheet of this inverter, let me quickly talk about the manual of this inverter and give Kartel their accolades. And I'm referring to how detailed this manual is. I mean, there is no info about this inverter that you might be looking for that is not inside this manual. From the well-detailed dimension to the step-by-step guide on how to install the inverter. I mean, they put in a lot of work in this manual. I really appreciate that. Even somebody with just basic knowledge of electrical engineering that is not really a professional, when he picks this manual and this inverter, he can set it up. Back to the spec sheets, there's nothing I haven't seen before. The model is 4.3 kilowatts, 5 kVA, IP20 rating, class I protection, 32 amps max input current, 18.7 amps max output current. For battery parameter, battery is 24 volts, 100 amps AC charge current, 150 amps PV charge current, and 150 amps total charge current. If you are combining both AC and PV together. PV parameter, it takes up to 5,000 watts of PV. That's impressive for the 4.3 kilowatts inverter. 500 volts PV input, 18 amps max PV input current, 40 volts to 450 volts MPPT tracking range. Now, turning on the inverter, it has 20 pages of user interface for end user to be able to view all necessary informations. And it has about 30 pages of function setup for strictly professional. Speaking of user interface, what if I tell you this inverter is capable of carrying out a capacity test on your lithium batteries? Yes, I said it. There's a page on the user interface page that shows the battery discharge power and the battery discharge capacity, which is the continuous discharge power from the battery and the total discharge power from the battery. Although I don't know how accurate those parameters are. I don't have lithium battery lying around I can use to test. And also the total discharge capacity of the battery. Is it only the one that the load is taken from the battery, or it is combination of what the load is pulling from the battery and what the components of the inverter is also pulling from the battery, which is close to no load current? So the no load current plus the loaded current, is it combination? Because as far as I'm concerned, the two are pulling whatever they are using from the battery. So it's important for us to know which is it. And also, in case I plan on using this inverter for capacity test, what if there is a case of interrupts? Maybe as it is discharging, okay, the battery has been charged to 100%, then I want to discharge. Then there's grid. Will those values reset, or the grid will just top it up and it will start from wherever it is? I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So if there is a case of interrupt, or maybe while doing the capacity test, I switched off the inverter, will the value reset when I switched on the inverter again, or it will just continue from where it stopped? But then I guess we'll find out later. There's also a page in this user interface page that tells you the amount of power you have left in your battery in form of percentage and current, provided you have a solid communication between your inverter and your battery. And yes, I know knowing the percentage that your battery is left is nothing new, but seeing it in current, in form of current, like if you have 200 amps, which is 10 kilowatts, you know it's 200 amps. So if you've used 100 amps and you are seeing it that, okay, I have 100 amps left in my battery, it will give you an idea, maybe not the end user, but for a professional, it will give you an idea that, okay, I've used this amount of current and or energy from my battery, and this is what I have left. Now, moving on to function setup page, there's a lot, but I'll just state few that I found interesting. The bulk charging can go as high as 62 volts for 48 volt inverters, 31 volts for 24 volt inverters, and 15.5 volts for 12 volt inverters. Battery load can go as low as 28 volts on a 48 volt system, 14 volts on a 12 volt system, and 7 volts on a 12 volt system. That's impressive. But then I'm still struggling to get how this is useful, considering the fact that there is no 48 volt battery that can discharge as low as 28 volts, or a 24 volts that can discharge as low as 14, and likewise 12 volt battery. So I don't know where are we supposed to use this, unless we have a 36 volts battery that we want to use on a 48 volt inverter. So I don't know, but guys, we have it. So in case you need it. It also has battery low alarm set point, which is very, very, very important for me, because the fact that so many of inverters that I've used to complain 2 volts ahead. Like if my battery low is set to 48 volts for my lithium, it starts beeping battery low from 50 volts, which I really, really don't like it. So this one, I can just set my battery low alarm point to 48.5 volts and my battery to shut down at 48 volts. So this is very, very important for me. And there's another one, maximum grid connected power, which allows you to be able to cap whatever it is you want to be pulling from the grid. Like if you're using a 10 kilowatt inverter, you can decide to set your maximum grid connected power to like 2 kilowatts, which means you only want to be pulling 2 kilowatts from the public grid, nothing more than that. But you have to set it in terms of current. So if you need 2 kilowatts from the grid, you have to convert it to current, which is 2000 divided by rated voltage 220, and you have approximately 9 or 9.1. And lastly, it has a total of 6 communication protocol for your lithium batteries, which are grow watt communication, Voltronic communication, pylon communication, base communication, and I can't remember the remaining 2. So whichever battery you want to use with this inverter brand, you have to be sure that it has at least one of these listed communication protocol. So with all being said, should you jump up right now and go and buy Kartel inverter? Before I answer that, there is just one thing that I need to talk about: the connection area spacing of this inverter. You know how Kartel are used to making their product very, very compact, and you know it's going to look so cute. Well, they overdo it this time around. The connection area spacing is so small that if something fell off inside that place, I can hardly use my 2 fingers and bring it out. I mean, tightening battery cables to the battery terminal of this inverter is such a nightmare. The screw fell in where we were trying to unscrew, then we couldn't remove it until we had to turn the inverter upside down before we were able to pick the screw. Now we have picked the screw, we want to return it back. It is so difficult to fix it back because my screwdriver does not have magnet, which I never thought should be an issue for an on-site operation. When we are in workshop, it is essential for screwdrivers to have magnets, but I don't think that is really necessary at sites. We can say let's use long nose. Long nose is a workshop tool, not really a site tool. So having enough space that if a screw fell in, I should be able to put my hand and pick it out. I should be able to tie my screw back when I want to tighten the battery cables. It's not such a big deal. I get that you want it to be compact, but it's too much. The spacing is just way too small. I couldn't even fit my 3 fingers in that place. Okay, so back to the question: should you stand up right now and go and buy Kartel? I think yes, you should go and buy Kartel. This problem is not really a problem for end users. So end users have nothing to worry about with this problem. It is with the installers that has this issue. So whichever way we want to deal with it, we can just deal with it in whichever way. But I think this inverter packed a lot of goodies that we can't just overlook just because the spacing of the inverter is so small. So what do you guys think? I am Bashir from Interdent and I'm the chief surgeon. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, share. See you guys in the next one.